Hello, good morning and welcome to Macau. It's approaching 8 a.m. I'm Dave Moore, and at 7:45 we will have the first action of this second weekend of racing at Macau. Last weekend it was the cars. Today the bikes are back at Macau. You can see there the 5-minute board has just gone up. So this morning it is just a free practice session, no times, so no pressure. And then tomorrow morning, this time, just well, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning will be the first qualifying session, and then later on that day, at the end of the schedule, the second qualifying session, and then we'll be racing on Saturday. However, a lot of miles to put down on the road between now and then, and there is our current champion of Macau. Came here last year as a newcomer. Obviously it was a little bit different, the circumstances under which the event was run, but Erno Costomo back at Macau and looking to defend his title. However, he's up against some very top opposition this year, especially this man, Michael Rutter, who is the most successful motorcycle racer at Macau. And last time he was here, the Batham's man won. Somewhat controversial circumstances, I suppose, but those go faster stripes he used to have in his hair, now a little bit greyer than they were before. Camille Holland from the Czech Republic, back at Macau. So it's a different looking kind of lineup really this year at the event, because after what happened last year, and there is the man who you would have to say starts as red hot favourite, Peter Hickman, looking as relaxed as ever, no matter what the race meeting, always looks relaxed. But as I was saying, it's now, for many years it was the Motorcycle Grand Prix dominated by British riders. It has a very international feel now. So the Brits are back. I mean, we did have the likes of Rob Hodgson, etc. last year, but now we have Sam West, Davey Todd, Rutter, etc. But we also have Dave Johnson, the Australian, Michael Evans from the Isle of Man, of course. Frenchman Timothy Monod is back again. Costomo, as I mentioned, from Finland. We have Nadia Schutz, the Dutch rider from the Netherlands, and the German rider David Datzer, and Swiss Olivier Luckberger. Brian McCormack representing Ireland, of course. Julian Trummer from Austria. Camille Holland, as I said, from Czech Republic. And also Josh Brooks is a newcomer this year to the Macau Grand Prix. See, it is reasonably cool. It tends not to get hot until around 10:30, 11. And it might be a little bit different tomorrow afternoon around 4 o'clock. But it's quite comfortable at the moment, so that is not something for the riders to be concerned about here today in Macau, the humidity. There is Sam West, Moto Hub BMW. Davey Todd, the unmistakable Davey Todd, with John Burrows. So this first session then, as I mentioned, there's no times, etc. However, it can be, the nerves can kick in a little bit, because since the cars race at the weekend, they've had 3 days of normal traffic on the gear circuit. And it can be, and I was talking to that man, Michael Rutter, this morning, and asked him what it was like, the difference going out on this track now as a street sweeper, basically. And he says it's so different to places like the Isle of Man TT and what have you. It certainly can be a lot greasier here. Here you have a lot of traffic for those 3 days. Since we had the racing at the weekend with the cars, we had 3 days of normal traffic, and the traffic, because there's so much of it, tends to sit there and dirties the surface. However, he says on the plus side, he says it is nothing. It used to be terrible years ago. Now it's improved tenfold. There's Rob Hodgson, just about to get on the SMT machine, but he says it's improved tenfold. Peter Hickman was saying as well, it's improved at San Francisco Hill. There used to be a taxi rank on the left-hand side going up, so taxis just used to sit there, and you go up and it'd be really, really greasy. He says it's not bad. And also as well, because of that, the organisers do a tremendous job of going out and cleaning the track. And say, come tomorrow, this time tomorrow morning, it will be 100% a racetrack, with all the cars, rubber being put down throughout the course of the day. So Joey Thompson looks to be leading them out. This is all making their way out of Mandarin down to Lisboa. Two parts really, this circuit. From Fisherman's all the way around to the start finish and then down to Lisboa. It's all these straight parts, and then they come to here. This is that climb going up San Francisco Hill that I mentioned. And it does look reasonably in good condition to the naked eye. That could well be Davo Johnson, who's just going out onto the track now. Davo back at Macau. So not really expecting too much in this session. We're just hoping that everyone gets around. There are no delays. It's even. A lot of the riders I've been talking to were saying that there's nothing to be gained. It's just getting to know either your way back around again. For some of the riders, of course, they'll be getting to know their machine. That's Paul Jordan, number 22. That's exactly what he was saying this morning as Peter Hickman goes out onto the track now. He wants a nice clear track ahead of him. But Paul Jordan was saying all for him right now. He's been here a couple of times before, back in 2018, 2019. But right now, he's getting to know the bike at this moment, as well as remembering his way around, of course. But his priority right now, bedding himself in, getting to know that bike, where it's strong, in terms of how he rides it, not where it's strong on the track, and what he needs to do and getting to know it. And then tomorrow's sessions will be the real deal. Now I'm guessing this is Michael Rutter, judging from the big Batham sticker on the fairing. That is Josh Brooks, treble 8. On the FHO Racing BMW. Josh Brooks, a newcomer. So Michael Rutter's going to do another lap after this. Well, he said he's going to do a couple of laps. Whether that includes this sighting lap remains to be seen. He says that's the plan. Go out, a couple of laps, get used to it. Do a little bit of showboating over the start-finish line. Tell everyone, hey, don't forget me, I am the king of the Macau. And as you've seen on social media, just look at the dust that's being kicked up there. You can see how the dirt that's on that track, that'll be gone later today. The cars will have brushed all that away, but you can see that's what they have to contend with right now. It's they are literally street sweeping their way around into Lisboa. Such a crucial part of this circuit. This is the first time you've ever watched the Macau Motorcycle Grand Prix. Then under the bridge, and then the climb up San Francisco Hill. He's got 4 onboard cameras on that bike. So they're putting times up, the sector times. However, it doesn't mean a jot, really. It will stand for nothing. Tomorrow, first qualifying session, which generally in the past, when they do the first session, that's when they tend to post their fastest times. It's rare you get the odd one or two will go faster in the second session. Could all change this year, of course. But there is nothing at all to be learned from looking at those times right now. No one's pushing, no one's trying. I mean, no one will be coming in and chopping tyres around or checking compounds or whatever. As I say, it's all just about getting back in. Then they've got all day today to sit round, relax, chat, sort out what's what with these bikes. And then this time tomorrow, that's when we'll see the ante being upped. I say, Peter Hickman was asking him about the road surface, and they say, yeah, this is definitely a lot worse than places like the Isle of Man TT, just because we get a little bit of movement from Costomo, but just because of the fact you have 3 days of a lot of heavy traffic just sitting around a lot of the time. Costomo is certainly putting in a stint. He's already catching up with Michael Rutter. The old king versus the new king, our last two previous Macau Motorcycle Grand Prix winners on screen as we look right now. 9 times for Michael Rutter, just the 1 so far for Erno Costomo, who actually has put in fastest sectors, not surprisingly, on 2, 3, 4 and 5. And puts in a lap of 2:37.1. Rutter does a 2:40. So yeah, Rutter will be coming in at the end of this lap. So Erno Costomo not on the bike that he rode last year. Different one. He had a superbike at Macau. This is a super stock machine, whereas Michael Rutter is on a superbike. It's a brand new superbike, but what I mean by that, it's an FHO put together superbike. So all the bits that Peter Hickman and Josh Brooks didn't really use, that they had at their disposal during the BSB season, they've put together a bike for him to race here at Macau. Both Brooks and Hickman on BSB bikes, but they're all on superbikes, the FHO guys. So Costomo, as we look at Peter Hickman, Costomo on Metzler this year. And the reason that Costomo went with a super stock here this weekend is because he's really struggled with the superbike all year. Any of you who witnessed in Matra this year, a great battle in the wet between this man, Peter Hickman, and Erno Costomo. And it looks like Hickman won't be back at Imatra next year. Unfortunately, the event clashes with the Snetterton round of the British Superbike Championship, so Hickman doesn't look as if he'll be back at Imatra. San Francisco there. You can see the taxi rank on the left-hand side there. Last time Peter Hickman was here, of course, looked as if he was going to win, but eventually it went to Michael Rutter. But Hickman already with Macau Grand Prix victories under his belt. And unlike Michael Rutter, who's on Metzler, Josh Brooks and this man Peter Hickman both using Dunlops. They're going on harder tyres this morning. And it's just a case of, again, familiarising themselves. Whereas, certainly, well, for Peter Hickman and Michael Rutter, Josh just get the laps in, getting to know the place. Also, well, this session, as I say, they're getting to know it, but they just need to be in the ballpark with chassis and gearing settings, etc. So they'll just take what they know, and then come tomorrow, first session and then second session. In the first session, they'll be looking to get the times in, and then second session could possibly be checking tyre compounds, etc. What's the best kind of tyre, as long as they put in a satisfactory lap time in the first session. This is Phil Crow, number 71, another BMW. 10 BMWs on the grid this year. We have 6 Kawasaki's, a couple of Suzuki's, the odd Yamaha and Honda as well, which I seem to remember was pretty much the case last year as well. So Hickman, as you can see on the screen, with the fastest time so far. Datsa second quickest, Costomo third, Jordan, McCormack, Crow, Rutter, Todd, Trummer, Mono. Josh Brooks just ahead of Rob Hodson. So he's around 10 seconds off the pace, which is nice to see for someone who's a newcomer, but we will expect to see Josh get quicker and quicker as he becomes more and more acquainted with this fabulous gear circuit, which I mentioned before. We've got these fast straights out of Fisherman's R-Bend onto the start-finish, Mandarin, Lisboa, and then you get to San Francisco Hill, and then it's the windy bit. Donna Maria, Police, etc. All those classic names. Time charts showing us 6th fastest so far. Michael Evans from the Isle of Man, number 25, just going through the shot. And number 22 at the back of that pack, Paul Jordan. No John McGuinness, of course, this year. First one he's missed, I think, since he started coming here back in the 1990s. There was talk of Michael Dunlop perhaps being here again, having ridden just the once back in 2013. However, that didn't come to fruition. Olivia Luckberger just being passed by Paul Jordan, who looks to be getting more and more comfortable with the Zero Up Racing Pens 13 BMW. Paul Jordan still not sorted for a ride next year. Well, certainly, I know. I think he may have a Super Twin all in place, etc. But number 22, Paul Jordan, still looking to put pen to paper on a deal for the 2024 road racing season. And I just wonder, if the Pens do the International Road Racing Championship, I wonder if he could be another rider who could be drawn towards that series. Pens, of course, regulars in that competition. And here is Davey Todd on bike number 7. Now, Davey Todd on a superbike, the Burroughs engineering machine that Mike Brown has ridden this season. And Davey has Metzler rubber on his bike. His plan this morning, just getting in as many laps as possible, become familiar with the circuit and the bike, of course. And he is loving being back with the Burroughs team, because that's who he did his first TT with. And also he's here with the support of his current team, TAS Racing too. Now that's Costomo just looking maybe for a breaking point already going into Lisboa. A little overshoot. You do not get many of those here at Macau. A lot of the riders have been here quite a few days now, so they're completely in the time zone. Costomo in the 232s. So he's really fancying his chances. He's really looking to get up to speed ASAP. I mentioned John McGuinness a moment before. It's just been announced, of course, that along with Nathan Harrison And Dean Harrison, he'll be riding next year for the Honda Racing UK team on the roads. Might make things a little bit easier if he just called himself John McHarrison. So here's Davey Todd. Getting the laps in. Many of the riders getting 4 or 5 laps in already. You can see a bit of rubber going down. And also there's a bit of rubber there still from the previous weekend. This is into Lisboa. Such an iconic name in motorsport, the Lisboa corner. So much happens there, especially with the cars, of course. Here's Costomo still going out on the BMW. Hickman has come in. Mora has come in. Michael Rutter has gone back out. McCormack has come in. So too has Mark Goodings. He's only managed 3 laps so far. David Johnson's done 4 laps. Just on the screen there, the name David Datzer did so well. It was so impressive at Macau in his debut last year, as of course was this guy, Erno Costomo. He's had a great season, even though, as I said earlier, wasn't too happy with the way the Superbike was handling, so he's decided to go with a stock machine here. And as we saw at the Isle of Man TT this year, sometimes being on a super stock bike brings its own rewards. The fastest lap of the Isle of Man TT course achieved by Peter Hickman at 136 miles an hour on a super stock BMW, the FHO racing machine. FHO racing here with MGM this weekend. This is out of the squiggly bit. Down to Fisherman's, and then back on the power. Into R bend, and then across the line. Todd's best lap's been a 2:34.9 so far. He just does a 2:33.3, so he's just taken a second off his previous best lap. But he looks to be loving life at the moment, out on track, Davey Todd. Another British rider, of course, who was here last year was Rob Hodson, back with Robin Croft's SMT racing team. SMT, of course, had a lot of success with this man in the past, Michael Rutter, here at Macau. Let's hear Rob Hodson on a super stock bike. However, a few little fancy bits on it, a few upgrades. And he's also riding on Metzlers for the first time. And just grabbed a quick word with him before we went on air, and he was saying he's just building into this, as most of the riders are. I think Michael Rutter would have come in and said, yep, I enjoyed that, knowing Michael Rutter. Brian McCormack just coming through our shop right now. Brian McCormack on the treble one bike. Interesting machine, the one that Brian McCormack is riding, the Roadhouse Macau FHO Racing BMW. It's got a Superbike engine and a super stock chassis. Brian also on Dunlops. Made his debut 10 years ago here at Macau. Also a mention for his main sponsor watching Australia, Kieran, helping putting Brian out on track today, tomorrow and on Saturday. That is the unmistakable Melco hairpin, and that is the unmistakable Michael Rutter exiting it. Just listen to the revs. And you have to say as well, how spectacular does that fight look as the front wheel lifts. Everything, and also as well, I don't think you'll see a smoother rider on track. Absolutely a joy to watch Michael Rutter, 51 years of age of course, and yet still looks super smooth. I don't know whether he thinks it or whether it's natural, but just a wonderful, wonderful motorcycle racer. Just listening to the bike there as it comes down into Lisboa. No one has approached Lisboa as many times as Michael Rutter on a motorcycle. And here is Brian McCormack, his kind of teammate. Feiho also has an interest in Brian's team. Obviously, Roadhouse Macau BMW. Cost them over the 230.6, by the way. So Hickman has come in, Phil Crow has come in, Rob Hodson is also in. So too Dom Herbertson, Josh Brooks has come in. Paul Williams, Nadia Schutz has come in. Yeah, certainly Erno Costomo is giving everyone something just to think about. Not that they'll think about it, but just certainly a reminder that he wants to be pushing at the front come race day on Saturday. And of course the race this year will be first away, first on track. Let's see, how smooth does Michael Rutter look? So he's going for another lap again. Michael Evans here at Macau. Michael Evans on the Suzuki as we looked again there at Michael Rutter. So yeah, Michael was saying that he's just looking to get back into things, and he is getting back into things. You see the rear lifting there. He's in his happy place right now. Remember a few years ago standing under the bridge just going into San Francisco when he had the RCV. What a noise that made. But these boys will still be making, and girls of course, not forgetting Nadia, will be making a fantastic crescendo. Lovely noise as they go under these bridges, etc., around the sound of the machines bouncing off the high rises. There's Brian McCormack again. So if Michael Rutter can get past the likes of Michael Evans, you might see Rutter improving on his 234.0. But I reiterate again, there's nothing really on times. It's just about getting back into Macau and everything that it entails. Just hear the way the has to slow down for these bends, just shutting off the revs. That's David Datzer, the German. Went so well at Macau last year. Had a good, strong season again in the International Road Racing Championship. A little bit of case of old meets new, really. The likes of Costomo and Datsa. Now, after the success they enjoyed here last year, however, we didn't have the likes of Peter Hickman or Michael Rutter at Macau last year. So it is really a case of old meeting new this time around. Whether new can stay up with old remains to be seen. They certainly want to be trying. You saw that Datsa was trying there, a little bit of a wobble. Talking about Paul Jordan before, and he's on a super stock machine, 2019 bike on Metzler's. He rode with Dapperbet, of course, back in 2018-19. Dapperbet were here, of course, last year at Macau with the likes of Rob Hodgson. Davey Todd again. I was talking to Danny Horn, the main man at Dapperbet Racing. He was saying how the bikes would be going out, interestingly, on very similar setup from data that they had when Dominic Herbertson rode for them back in 2019. A few small differences for Davo Johnson. The two Dapperbet riders out on Pirelli SC1 fronts and Pirelli SC0 rears to do a full session. Both of them are on super stock bikes with Maxton suspension, and both on MSS refreshed engines, and they were dynoed a couple of weeks ago at MSS. So there are still a few Kawasaki's here at Macau this year. Dom's on the spare Dapperbet 2023 ZX-10R. Davo, though, freshly built one, and it should have been the one that Matt Stevenson was riding. However, Matt Stevenson, who was here last year but had that crash at I think it was the Cregner Bar at the TT, but Davo was on that bike. The funny thing was as well, he was laughing when I was talking to him the other day, Danny, because Dom, having been injured, and Dom, it's great to see Dominic Herbertson back after injury, of course, but and Davo in Australia. So the only test rider that Dapperbet had was Danny Horn. So Danny took the bikes out and tested them at Croft, and now here he is spannering them as well today. Just over a quarter of an hour to go in this session. Lots of riders are in. There's Todd. This is why we're seeing Davey Todd. The reason we're getting a lot of screen time is because, yep, Michael Rutter comes in. So we'll follow them in. John Hogan just in the background. So Michael just giving some information. So Davey Todd, by the way, with a 2:30.6, just a shade slower than Costomo. But Costomo's in, Datsa's in, Rutter's in, Jordan is in, McCormack is in, Phil Crow's gone out. And Peter Hickman is also out, and he's just put in the fastest first sector. So Peter Hickman is out on track. Trummer is in, Davo Johnson is in, Rob Hodgson is in, Mono is in, Holan is in, Joey Thompson has come in, Michael Evans has come in, Paul Williams is in. Joey Thompson, of course, was here last year, back in Macau. He's on his Yamaha R1 Superstock bike. It's a new to him. He's only raced on once before he's come here. He's on Pirellis. And again, he's just trying to sort out the gearing, minor suspension adjustments for the course, trying to get many laps in as possible. And it's a real family setup that he's racing for, the 74 Racing Limited, sponsored by Genetec Power Solutions. That's great backing, of course, from his dad and his personal sponsors, Eddie and Jim. And he always says he's so grateful to them for helping him come out here and take part in this wonderful event. Now there's the man I was talking about. He purpled the first sector. He personally went quicker on sectors 2 and 3. He's on the 4th sector now, just coming up to the end of it. That's the end of that sector. So around the Macau hairpin. And yeah, he's had to slow. But again, as I keep mentioning, and I apologise for repeating myself, but just in case you are joining us, the times that they post now will mean nothing. Certainly when it comes to grid positions. And also the interesting thing with the Motorcycle Grand Prix of Macau, very different of course to the cars. For the cars, you can see the grid positions on there, 2 abreast for the cars, where it's 3 for the bikes. And because of the nature of the circuit with the cars, you've really got to be on the front row if you're going to have a chance of winning. Maybe row 2. The bikes, though, we've seen people from row 3 in the past come through. It's all about getting a great start. And just coming down on the opening lap, coming into Lisboa. This man will be happy if he's in P1. And he gets to this point come Saturday. Because from this moment onwards, it's hard. You rarely see overtaking. But the bikes, of course, with the cars, they're not allowed to overtake at the Macau hairpin. However, that rule does not apply to the motorcycles. Hickman's just done a 2:31.7. That puts him 3rd fastest in this pre-practice session. With a little bit of movement for Phil Crow, but you'll see quite a lot of the bikes do that. So we have less than 12 minutes remaining of this session. And I think the way things are going so far, I think a lot of people will be reasonably pleased with the way things have happened so far. This time tomorrow, of course, the real business gets underway. Hickman is just coming out of the Macau hairpin now, coming down onto the seafront. He's got Sam West is coming up to complete a lap as well. I think Dominic Herbertson might be in for the pits, perhaps. Yes, Herbertson has pitted, so too has Lucas Moura. There is Sam West on the motohub.co.uk BMW. It's amazing how the pictures from our cameras make the track look so wide, and yet the riders will tell you it's just black, yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow, and it's all just like a tunnel. There really is no motorcycle race like this in the world, is there? Certainly not at this level. The Isle of Man TT is what it is. There's no Nothing quite like the Isle of Man TT, of course. And there's nothing quite like the Northwest 200, especially since we seem to unfortunately have lost the Ulster Grand Prix. Who knows what will happen with that, but they're all unique in their own different ways. Josh Brooks, first time at Macau. Be nice to have a camera next to him when he takes his helmet off. See if he's smiling. He normally comes across as a very serious kind of guy, but yeah, total professional. Josh Brooks on the treble 8. He's on treble 8. Peter Hickman on 88, and Rutter on 8. That, of course, all to do with their sponsor. Costomo has gone back out, so too has Datzer. Michael Rutter has just gone back out. Paul Jordan, we know, is out as well. Phil Crow just starting another lap. It's a little clutch of riders all coming down to Lisboa together at the moment. The likes of David Datzer and Rutter. There's a little group of them all together. Still quite overcast here, and there's a bit of a breeze as well. So as I mentioned earlier, humidity not a problem as things stand. Might be a little bit different come tomorrow afternoon's second qualifying session. And Peter Hickman has put in the fastest lap so far, a 2:30.5. He is a tenth of a second quicker than Costomo. Such a great battle in the wet at Imatra. However, that won't be a thing here because, of course, the riders don't have any wet tyres. Rain is such a rarity here this time of year, although having said that, they did get a downpour for the cars last weekend, but the forecast was it for be to be dry for the rest of the week, and so far that has been the case. So there's just no point in them bringing wet tyres. It would just be pointless because the chances are 99.99% of the time they're not going to be used. So it's just, why bring some wet tyres when you can bring more dry tyres? So therefore, if it does in fact rain or the circuit is damp, just all being very sensible right now. It's very good. That's Camille Holland with Peter Hickman. But as I was saying, so wet racing motorcycles, Macau, just not an option. We'll see Hickman make his way through. So Camille Holland, the rider from the Czech Republic. As we're coming up to 6 minutes until the checkered flag comes out to bring this session to a halt. All being well, I'll be this time tomorrow bringing you all the information that we've gleaned from these riders from this morning's session. I mentioned Nadia Schutz earlier before. She's on a super stock bike again, a 2021 R1. It belongs to Team SP57 from the European Superbikes. It was only raced for 5 rounds last year by Stephen Odendal. And he enjoyed some success on that machine. Her plan is, of course, to do better than she did last year. She says after this session she'll have a better idea where she's at and a more concrete goal. She's very distinctive, all pink outfit, the Basomba racing machine, which they're hoping to race in the World Endurance Championship next year. A competitive women's team, so they're looking for sponsors. And they're being looked after by Artisan Grand Lapper as well. And also, she's one of those riders that's crowdfunded, partly crowdfunded. And so therefore she's here in Macau thanks to the generosity of many race fans who've put their hands in their pockets to help her achieve her dreams this week. Not happened to see Nadia, who made her debut at Macau last year. She's yet to appear on our screens. So there goes Hickman out of the hairpin. Right on the back wheel as he gets on the power. 18, of course, Lucas Mora. One of the Kawasaki riders, but let's hope they hold this. Or I was going to say, it'd be good to see Hickman at the background here. Sweeps into view. Costomo has responded to Hickman, by the way. You probably noticed 2:29.9, so he's the first rider to go inside 2:30. Oh no, Hickman's gone on a 2:28.9, so Hickman now ups the ante a little bit. So a second faster than Costomo. Through Mandarin they go. Oh, it's so tight. Look how the wall, the machine just gets sucked in. See, it kind of looks big and wide and open, but it is so tight. Davey Todd back out on track. But most of the riders are out. There's only the likes of Paul Williams and Timothy Mono who are in at the moment. Josh Brooks has gone back out. I'd imagine he'd be happy with a top 6 this weekend. Two-time British Superbike champion. Trying to think of riders who've won British Superbike races and Macau Grand Prix. So the likes of Michael Rutter, Steve Hislop, Steve Plater, Stuart Easton, of course. Here goes Rutter up to the inside of Joey Thompson on the 74 Racing Limited Yamaha. Joey Thompson still relatively young, of course. And he'll do, having arrived at Macau last year, Joey Thompson, if he can, he could learn a great deal by staying with the man in front, but that's a lot easier said than done, of course. But Joey Thompson is trying. I think he realises just to follow Rutter around would be an education. Just see that little bit of squaring off as they come out of Lisboa, just the movement in that back wheel. So 1 minute then until the checkered flag comes out. And I think the riders will say that it's been a pretty perfect opening session. It's overcast, it's not too hot. Yeah, it'll be interesting as well because they'll be racing first thing in the morning this year as opposed to last thing at the end of the normal race schedule, on how fast they will go, especially if it is as cool in 2 days' time as it is right now. So Michael Rutter just holding up. As the first free practice, the first one and only free practice session of the Macau Motorcycle Grand Prix comes to an end. So the checkered flags are being waved directly opposite me right now. That was Dom Herbertson just crossing the line. Rob Hodson's also just finished his as well. He goes across the line. Next interview will be David Johnson. Then Michael Rutter. 25 has just gone through as well. Michael Evans. Yeah, Michael Rutter, I think, is going to be very happy. I don't know whether we'll be able to, if there is a camera available down in pit lane. Let's hope so. We can maybe see what we can pick up as we watch the rest of the bikes coming over. Hickman with a 2:28.9 is the fastest in that session. Costomo also inside 2:30. So Davey Todd here with the second fastest time, 2:29.6, and he's here this weekend carrying the Skegness Raceway logo. And there, Skegness very grateful to Davey and the Burrows Engineering RK Racing team for their support. And Davey, of course, a senior member of the Skegness Raceway team here in Macau. And Davey means business, doesn't he? 2:29.6, Hickman with a 2:28.3. There he is, our fastest man so far, but tomorrow morning is when it matters. So there'll be a little bit of fettling going on, I would imagine, and then maybe a day by the pool for the FHO racing team. They are as relaxed as they are professional about their racing. So there is a very happy looking Davey Todd coming through as well. It'll be a few minutes before we get down to the riders coming into pit lane. So I don't know whether we can read anything into these times this morning. I wouldn't have thought so, to be perfectly honest. I mean, Hickman, Todd, Costomo, yeah, Datsa as well. May have a bit of a different look about it tomorrow. You might see the likes of Michael Rutter, etc., a little bit higher perhaps. But just the three riders in this session inside 2:30. But as I keep reiterating, it is not about the times. It is about reacquainting themselves with the track, maybe getting to know a bike for the first time. So tomorrow, get the lap times in, post as quickly as you can, then start messing around with compounds, etc., trying to find out maybe settings, tweaking here and there, suspension, gearing, etc., etc. And that's what tends to happen in the second session. So free practice. It is exactly what it is. But this year, of course, a lot more Union Jacks in those top 10 positions than we had last year. But then again, as I say, this year is a very much an international event. It's great to have the Germans and the Swiss and the Austrians and the Czechs, etc. here, along with the Brits again this year. And of course, it gives Macau even greater international appeal across the globe. Just in case you're wondering where your guys and girls were, Luke Berger 23rd onwards. In fact, I think we're going to a montage, so I will say farewell for now. And coming out next, the cars will be on track, and I'll be handing you over to the very capable team of Alan Hyde and David Addison. But for me, Dave Moore from Macau, It's goodbye for now, and I will see you tomorrow morning for the first qualifying session, which is at 8 o'clock.
所以稍后的一个